of all, I want to start with something that is definitive, that I believe to be objectively true. I was on Stephanie Rule, the 11th Hour Stephanie Rule on MSNBC, and I summed up the fact that there is no president in modern history who has defunded the police more than Donald Trump. Let me play the clip.
Yeah, I know. I want to get your take on this federal takeover, basically, of the D.C. police force. You once worked for the mayor of Boston. The president seems like he is creating a template like this could happen in other cities. What's your take thus far?
Here's the disturbing part. If Donald Trump really wanted to address crime, he literally is defunding the police more than any president in modern history.
Slow it down and walk us through this, because I think this is the most important thing.
So I come from the city of Boston, as you mentioned. The way you measure homicides typically is per 100,000 people. So Jackson, Mississippi is 72, Memphis is 48, DC is 27, Boston is 3.5. How did we do that? We did it through community violence intervention. The clergy, the community, and the government all working together. And so the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, for example, put $250 million towards these kind of programs. Donald Trump froze $800 million Department of Justice grants, 550 programs across 48 states dedicated to things like community violence intervention. That's one of the biggest cuts in history. He also froze 700 FBI jobs, 100 million from the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, another 100 from domestic violence programs and violence against women at the DOJ. So if you actually want to address the problem of crime, you invest in these kind of programs. He's doing the exact opposite. And by the way, marching around Georgetown is not the way to reduce crime in D.C., okay? Marching DEA agents around the mall where there were 0 drug incidents last year is not the way to reduce crime. This is all about show, and this is all about control.
It is true. And I want to elaborate two specific cases, okay? One is Meridian, Connecticut. Any police department you talk to will tell you that overtime and paying for overtime is incredibly challenging. The budgets for police are not robust. And so having extra budget is really important. Meridian, Connecticut had a line item for over $100,000 worth of police overtime that was funded through federal grants that has now been frozen. That is a very tangible example of how Donald Trump is literally defunding the police.